Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks. And for the last week I have been banging my head against the matchmaker, and probably also a little bit of a skill issue that I've been having to try and get the Blackrock. I've been stuck on one mission pretty much since last Saturday, trying all sorts of tanks, trying tier 8, 9, 10, even trying tier 11, and then going back to tier 8 again, and then going back to tier 10, and then just feeling absolutely lost. It got to the stage where yesterday I pretty much had given up, honestly. And the reason is because you can get the Blackrock by not completing the missions, and if you just do your daily missions, you can get 25 points towards it, and if you do your weekly missions, you get 240 points towards it. So for every week that you do your daily and your weekly missions, you can skip one of the most stinky missions and save yourself a whole load of hassle. But I guess my pride just kept wanting me to think, oh, I can do this, you know. I don't need to do weekly missions and daily missions to be able to skip some of the hardest things that have probably ever been asked of anyone inside World of Tanks. And so I've given it my best go, and here are some of the fails and letting you know why these missions are so stinky. So firstly, I don't really feel that I truly got stuck on any of the missions until the final ambush missions for the Blackrock. The first one that I got stuck on was the mission that required you to do 1,500 damage to 3 different vehicles and secure the kill on them. That one was absolutely brutal because sometimes if you got into a bad matchup, there wasn't 1,500 hit points of damage on that many vehicles on the enemy team. Let's say you played a tier 10, you got into a tier 8 matchup, you can't do it on any of the tier 8 tank destroyers, the tier 8 mediums, so on and so forth. And think about it like this. If you get into a tier 10 matchup, even if you're playing in a tier 11 vehicle, and you're playing against, I don't know, a UDES on the enemy team, if one person does like 451 damage to that UDES, it is no longer a possibility for you to be able to complete the mission on that tank. And then there are other people out there trying to get kills to be able to complete their missions or to be able to complete their dailies. And so what you'd often do is go in with an autoloader and clip someone down to a one-shot, and then someone would go yoink. And if you can't manage to do that 3 times, oh my lord, that mission I got stuck on for, I think it was 2 or 3 days, maybe like 2 or 3 days. But that was nothing until I tried to do this one. This is Ambush 14. Now, Ambush 14 requires you to do 30% of your team's damage. So, as you saw at the beginning, I think the hit points were 30,000. And so it's a bit like I gave you with a tip in the high caliber medal the other day. You just knock one of the zeros off, and for the high caliber you times it by 2s. And for this one, however, instead of timesing by 2, you have to times by 3. And so that means if there's 30,000 hit points on the enemy team, you need a 9,000 damage game. If there's 33,000 hit points on the enemy team, you need a 9,900 damage game. And so pretty much every time you got into a tier 11 game, when you were playing a tier 10 tank, or you just played a tier 11 vehicle, you'd have to do 10,000 damage to be able to complete this mission. And so that's a very tricky thing, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe like 80% of the player base has never had a 10,000 damage game in the history of playing their accounts. And so for now, the game to basically tell you, oh, okay, bro, you know that account record that you just got, like 4 years ago in that Magical Dream matchup where there was also 2 AFK tanks and you got an ammo rack? Do it again. Do it again. But this time, do it in a handful of tanks, only support tanks, and also only autoloaders. And then also pray that your team is just bad enough and the enemy's team is just slightly better, but they're still bad. And then maybe, just possibly, you can do it. So this was the dream, boys and girls. We got ourselves in the Stinger, and we're just managing to go through tank after tank after tank. Lots of heavies that don't have autoloaders or high alpha damage that we can be able to commit to. And 8,500! Come on, baby! it just every time you did this mission, I felt like I was rolling the dice. I was rolling the dice about did I get into the right kind of matchup, the right kind of matchup being a matchup with hopefully as low tier tanks as possible so that they didn't have hit points, the right kind of matchup so they had lots of tank destroyers which have low hit points, which means it's easier to be able to get 30%, the right kind of matchup where they have light tanks and self-propelled guns because they got low hit points and so you have to do less damage, and then you had to hope that the enemy team were bad at World of Tanks, and then you had to hope that your team were really bad at World of Tanks, so you actually had the room to be able to make the difference. And then at the end of the game, if you were playing a slower tank where you wanted to take durability to have the hit points to do damage, then you just found yourself chasing it and just seeing it melt away. Oh my goodness gracious. So, and just to go, and then you just have to go, huh. You just put on that smile, and you just go, okay, well, I guess I'll do it again and hope I have another magical opportunity. 8,500 damage game. Usually I'd be really happy. One thing that's crazy about this mission is that even when you had those big wins, those big damage wins, you still feel like a loser because you didn't progress your mission. And the crazy thing is that you start to kind of turn to the dark arts. And no, I'm not talking about kind of like I don't know, rubbing a can of baked beans under your armpits while jumping around on one foot with only the sock on the other foot while also wearing a hat, but the hat is inside out and backwards as well. Fashion statement right there. No, not talking about those dark arts. I'm talking about the dark arts of vehicles that you truly despise inside the game, but have a good chance of possibly being able to get through the mission. And that was the FV4005. Now, many of you who have watched my Twitch stream over the years will know how much I love playing the FV4005. I think it's a fantastic, magical kind of tank with wonderful gameplay that is oh so rewarding and enriching to be able to play. Yes, all of these things and more. No. If you can't sense my dry sarcasm, then there's no hope for you here. Oof, God, look at that. 1,000 damage through the BZ-58-2. I think I just hit his upper plate there. Disgusting what you can do with 8,000 credits in World of Tanks. No, this is definitely one of my most hated vehicles. I played this vehicle probably about 100 times or something over the last 5 or 6 days to be able to attempt to do this mission. Now, one of the good sides of playing like this is, yes, as you can see, I finally got my 3rd mark of excellence on the FV4005. And I've got a handful of pretty good games. Am I actually going to bring myself to make a masterclass video on this vehicle? Maybe. I think it's just going to give me kind of like some stress watching those replays back and knowing like this wasn't the one, this wasn't the one, that wasn't the one, but what was the one? Or has it happened? Shall I just completely give up on the BlackRock mission? Will it be my lucky day today? Who knows? Were you watching my stream yesterday? Were you not watching my stream yesterday? Will you watch my stream today? All of these existential crisis questions that Uncle QuickyBaby is asking himself, do I want to stream today? Is the question after how much this mission has been absolutely kicking my backside. So, just to talk about the mental gymnastics that I had to go through to do this mission mentally. Each time seeing that, oh yeah, I gotta do like another 9,000 damage this game because there's so many hit points on the enemy team. Or just sitting there as well. One of the most tricky things mentally while doing this mission was to not just go in and die because you no longer have a chance to do it. Honestly. And I found myself there. My stats on my account are on a downward trajectory. And it's not because of 2.0 being released, it's because I have this little monkey on my shoulder saying, you're not doing the mission. You're not doing the mission. You're only here to do the mission. You want to get the BlackRock. You want to get the BlackRock so you can show the community what the BlackRock is all about. Now, for you, it's not going to be, maybe you want to show your Nan the BlackRock. Hey Nan, look, I've got the BlackRock. Finally, I can tell you all about it. That's great. You know what? I'm sure your Nan is very interested. Get your Nan to play World of Tanks as well. Oh, also, I have a referral link. It's a paid referral link in the comments down below when you register your Nan's account. Okay, look, all jokes aside. yeah, I do feel that kind of pressure inside the game, thinking, okay, I've got to try and get this Blackrock as quickly as possible. That I don't have it on a press account. Want to see what it's like and form an opinion. But all of you out there will probably want to be able to get the Blackrock so that you can be able to have the enjoyment of having it and having that monkey off your shoulder, right? And I have to admit, that monkey was often whispering things in my ear, saying, one-shot that tank. No. Good try, M6Y. We're going to try and see if we make this 46 hit points last, boys and girls. Just you watch. That monkey was often telling me, oh, there's no way that you can do it in this matchup. Why don't you just drive in? Or, hey, if you want to do in this matchup, you're going to have an insane result. So what you should do is you should just get ram killed by a mouse behind. No, definitely not. Close game. I'm not going to lie. This wasn't the game that I wanted to commentate on. This was... I must have played so many games on Pearl River. Whoops. You can clearly see that my brain is really cooked from having to do all of these missions. So, round 2 on the Pearl River map. There's 31,590 hit points on the enemy team, which means that I need to do about 9,500 damage in this game if I want to do it. So, look, as I was saying, there's that monkey on your shoulder pretty much telling you, oh, you can't do it in this matchup. Well, you have to play hyper-aggressive in this matchup. And so I played so differently just to be able to do this mission. Because when you've got to do a high caliber plus 50%, it's not enough to just play well. You have to play well while almost hoarding all of the enemy's hit points for yourself, magically not taking any damage for them, and praying again that your team, as I said, are worse than the enemy team, but the enemy team is still bad enough to allow you to farm them in a slow enough game for you to actually be able to do the damage. And with a vehicle like this that has, I don't know, it's about 2,200 damage per minute. I've got a gun rammer and bond fence on this thing. Maybe I've got like 2,500 damage per minute. Maybe I've got 3k actually. That means I need to be continuously firing and reloading for pretty much about 3 to 4 minutes in a vehicle like this to be able to do that mission. That's a tricky thing to do, right? And yes, so I just found myself mentally defeated so quickly by this mission. I've been doing it for 30 hours, and it's been this just mental torment. I'd say it's actually the most frustrating thing I've ever had to do in World of Tanks. And man, I got gold in ranked every single time. I've got champion in Onslaught every single time as well, solo on my main account, and gold on my free-to-play account every single time. I'd say that those are frustrating things. I've unlocked the 260, every single mission with honors, including the artillery missions. I've done the 279E, not all of them with honors yet, but when I finally finish the Blackrock, maybe I'll go back and try to do them. No, I won't. I don't really care. Some of these things in World of Tanks, I swear that there's just somebody at Wargaming who is kind of like intentionally trying to make them so hard to be so frustrating. And I genuinely think that the mission that they've created here, right at the end, Ambush 14, I genuinely think that 90% of players in World of Tanks could never do this mission. And so what I'm really worried about is that we'll have players who get to this stage, who want to be able to do it, who maybe, if it affected me mentally, it might affect them mentally. And it might be a case that then they either start to play differently, or they just get, and they might just give up. And I'd thoroughly recommend, if you find yourself getting like I was, where you started to truly hate this game, and I'm not kidding you, on my Wednesday stream, by the end of it, I was not myself. I was not myself. I was hating this game more than anything. I couldn't even really think clearly or concisely of what I needed to do to be able to get through the situation. Blaming my teammates more than usual. Blaming myself. Hating myself in that kind of way. It was really dark. So much so that I was actually thinking about like feelings of uselessness and so on and so forth on the days that I wasn't streaming on Thursday. And it got to me, really, it actually did get to me. I will fully admit that, more than I think anything else in World of Tanks has really ever gotten to me within that regard. just that sheer frustration. It's this whole kind of mixing pot of loads of different conditions of that self-doubt. And so then, on Friday, I decided to myself, you know what, enough is enough. And I decided to set myself a time. I'll try the mission for 2 hours, and then after 2 hours, I'll just go back playing the game for fun. Just try and do what I want to do, which is to actually play to win, rather than to play to do some kind of mini game inside World of Tanks. And as soon as I just kicked back, relaxed, played pole tanks again, I was having so much fun streaming, having so much fun just messing about for the community, and showing off a whole variety of vehicles, which I personally, for me, is the strong point of World of Tanks. World of Tanks' strong point is not, again, in my opinion, playing the same tank again and again and again. Oh, lovely shot. Got him indeed. I don't think it's playing the same tank again and again and again. I feel like it's the whole variety of different vehicles in the ecosystem. Which is why, again, in World of Tanks 2.0, when I was grinding the same vehicle again and again, I even started to have thoughts of thinking, you know what, if that had assault, maybe I would have been able to do this. Or maybe, you know, an encounter map would have slowed it down, or at least given me an opportunity to maybe cap out and end the game quickly. Let me tell you, oh yes, goodbye Mr. Hacker. In all of the games that I played, one of the ways that you can get out of this mission is if you capture the base. Now here's the thing, if you need to do 30% of the damage caused, not of the total hit points on the enemy team, if you were to cap, then you could end the game prematurely before enemy players have died, and that would allow you to be able to kind of cheese the mission by doing a very small amount, but just getting in a cap. So that's kind of like a fail-safe inside this mission. But I can tell you, in about I don't know how many games it's been. It's probably been, I probably played about 300 games or so to try and do this. I've learned a few things. Firstly, there was only one game out of 300 where I think our team capped. And funnily enough, it was in the first like 10 games or so that I played out of the 300 games that I played so far to be able to try and do this mission. And that one where they nearly capped, I was only about like 300 damage away from doing the mission. But it might as well not be there. Now you might be able to cheese it by maybe signing up with some friends. You could sign up with a friend in a light tank, for example, and then maybe try and get them to cap while you're out there farming damage. Or you could try and maybe sign up with a couple of friends when they're playing their heavy tanks and get them to just look after you by tanking and hopefully allowing you to do damage until you've got the total, and then starting to play very well and kind of making sure that you win the battle. Because I had games as well doing this where I actually very, very, very nearly, within 100 or so, got to the damage total, but then I had to play aggressively to try and win the battle when we were outnumbered. And this is one of those kind of situations, right? You know, you've had a cracking game, 4 kills, 5,500 damage, absolutely slamming it, and then this is the dream, right? You said you needed 9,500, you only need 4,000 more, and there's a full health STRV. If we absolutely clap him, oh, game on, boys and girls, 7,200 damage. If I can manage to hit all of these vehicles, and I've only got 2 vehicles that I'm competing with here, oh man, this could be the one. This could be it. This could be it. And then you start to, again, have someone on your shoulder telling you what to do. And I was thinking, go in, flank the T-50s, well, flank the FV before the T-57 Heavy comes for me. And the Leopard catches me. And then that feeling, that wave of disappointment and futility and that uselessness, your questioning of your self-doubt pulls in. Anyone would usually be happy with doing 7,200 damage and getting 5 kills in an FV4005. I know I would. I never usually do well in this vehicle. I've been doing a lot better in this vehicle, I guess, since I've really been sweating and trying hard to get it done. But again, just feeling like a loser. As I believe I gave a thumbs up to the Borkenkäfer on the enemy team for carrying me out of this one. And spoilers, KR1 goes in, rams the Leopard. Okay, we can watch it. Come on then. Come on, ram that Leopard, dude. Oof, sir. Well, that was disappointing. Only 190. Hey, don't clown. Don't clown. No clown, please. No clown, please. Okay, good. Nice round, dude. And I can't believe it. I even managed to keep a relatively good mental in this game. GG, well played, team. After saying ram him 3 times. Brilliant. Peak World of Tanks. I don't know how I remain. I think this was at the start of a session. Maybe the start of the Wednesday session, actually. And I was like, okay, must remain zen. I'm doing missions, but it's okay. We just remain zen and everything will go well. Wasn't very zen by the end of this session, let me tell you. And so I gave up. On Friday from 6 p.m. UK time onwards, I went and played Pole Tanks. Had a great time. Stopped trying to think about the mission. And just got back to doing what I like to do. Play variety, actually interact with my chat, have a great time. And a chat didn't give up on me. That's the crazy thing. Even for the Pole Tanks, I had people voting for vehicles that could do the mission. And what you're seeing here is a Pole Tank that I played on Friday, where people once again voted for the MBTB. I used this vehicle a few times. I got really close. I think I had like an 8k damage game in not a nice matchup. And here we are. The dream, guys. The absolute dream. Only 5 heavies on the enemy team, which means they don't have many hit points. And only the 50B is a top tier heavy as well. And that's only got 2,100 hit points. It's not like it's a mouse or a type 5 heavy, which would literally mean I would have had to have done 1,000 more damage compared to like a 50B. And magic. Will the magic happen in this game in the MBTB? I need to do about 7,700 or 7,800 damage. And oh god, 257. He starts with 2,200 hit points. I have to pen every shot of my magazine here to be able to frag him out. Every single shell must go in. And I manage it. And then I drive towards the E50 to try and make him think that I want to farm him and that I'm dangerous. And sometimes with autoloaders, you have to bluff. And we can see this E50, he doesn't want to drive around the corner in front of those vehicles. He sees that his T62A is getting farmed. And just perfection. I've lost a good amount of hit points, but I feel like I've got my foot in the door in this game. And what you're going to see here is the culmination of several hundred games of sweating and trying and thinking about playing arguably a little bit too aggressively to try and harvest as much from the enemy team as I possibly can. And what you're also going to see here is obviously a disgusting tank loading full gold to try and get a mission done, something I don't usually do. And just absolutely getting these dream scenarios where, for example, the 252U, that happy little strawberry is happy to just sit there. And I say, yeah, wait my reload, mate. He says 500 milliseconds. Look, even the ping gods are helping me out here, okay? The 252U on my team is telling me that they've got half a second of lag, which is probably why they didn't shoot the ISM there. So I don't know what's happening. Like, God is intervening, slowing down this 252U's connection so he can't farm damage, at least previously, quick enough to be able to steal my damage to give me a golden chance. And we're going in. We're not high rolling on the E75, but not low rolling either. And thank goodness that one went in, as that was the first bounce of the battle. So, I'm just trying to get out of this 252U's way. I promise you, I was not trying. I swear on my life, I was not trying to block that 252U there. What it was is just this like mental fog and panic of thinking, I need to put in one more mag. I need to put in one more mag. Where can I go to put in one more mag? Where's the damage? Where's the damage? Oh my god, it's happening again. My team is steamrolling, but I've had a really good start, and I only need to do like another 2,500 damage to be able to do this mission after 300 games. And the dream of 50B. And thankfully, the 50 TP on my team is slow, so we just got to pray to the gods. Oh, Amarek, come on, make it happen. As my team manages to put in there. And I think I just go for a reload initially. And the enemy 50B crashes backwards. Okay, we're on 7,000 damage. All I need is pretty much another 2 to 3 shots. 2 to 3 shots will do the mission. And oh, I make a bit of a mistake here, and that's I spot for my allies. I spot the Scorpion and the Borsig, but I was thinking, like, do I need to lurch forwards and try to position myself to farm the last people at the end? We've done 7,000 damage in the first 4 minutes of this game and got 4 kills. It's pretty much been perfect with regards to getting around, loading. Remember, the magic damage total is 7,800 or so on the enemy team. And oh gosh, going in here, I just feel like I gotta go in. I get lit up, I bounce a Progetto 65, I hit the Borsig. It's not enough, I need one more shot. Commit! Commit! Just 8,100 damage was enough to do 30%. I gave up. But you all, my Twitch audience out there of you didn't give up on me. And dudes, it made me feel so emotional to think that I played like 300 games to try and get this mission done. I went to the lowest of lows mentally with trying to get this mission done, to a point where I gave up and just decided, you know what, I'll just get it with my weekly missions. And you know what? I'm meant to be a professional here, a professional idiot. I've got to be at least entertaining and not just super salty and getting angry all the time on stream. And the fact that the Friday stream played poll tanks, you all voted for the MBTB, and even after kind of like 10 hours of sweating and actually having fun for the first time, I think, in a few weeks in World of Tanks, finally happened, and I got the Black Rock through finishing it with this mission with the MBTB after like 300 attempts. So the reward, the first ever tier 11 reward tank in World of Tanks, the Black Rock, a vehicle that has a special feature where if you penetrate 2 shells, your next shell will be a double shell delivered from stock with 1 second intra-clip delay, and when it's fully upgraded with half a second delay. So was it worth it? Obviously, ups and downs. For some people, the journey has to be really hard to be able to have a worthy payout, right? And there's no doubt that if the missions were easy, that I wouldn't have had that kind of like high elation feeling like I had yesterday, and if I'm honest, that I feel a little bit today. But I do think the requirements are right on the cusp for this mission in particular, where it just feels as if it's self-loathing to be able to get through the mission. And I do think that 90% of the player base, even if they were to have their best game of all time, the conditions would still not be there to be able to get this mission done. So most people are going to be able to get there through the weeklies. I personally think that this mission should have had like a failsafe, another opportunity to do something, maybe to get like 8 kills in a game, because I think for a lot of players, just securing 8 kills will be in that kind of game where you're in a really bad matchup against either full tier 11s, if that manages to happen, or if you want to play a tier 8 tank and you get against tier 10s, we can still have another way to prove that you've done something epic and heroic without just getting fortunate enough that the enemy team turn into XP pinatas, or in this case, damage pinatas for you. My gut instinct is to say that for the vast majority of players out there, grinding to actually complete the BlackRock missions are not worth it. I think you can do most of them leading up to the final 5 with decent play, or over a long period of time. But I thoroughly recommend that if any of you want to get the BlackRock, try and finish your Dravitz campaign fairly quickly, and then use your weekly points and your daily points to pump them into the BlackRock. And for every week that you do your weekly and your daily missions, you can basically skip one of the ultra hard missions at the end. And so you could skip doing the 15 ultra hard missions for doing your weekly and your daily missions for about 2 months. And that would be my recommended pathway for getting the BlackRock. And without a shadow of a doubt, Wargaming putting in that giant carrot of having a year of premium for everyone who's able to finish all of the missions. Yeah, I truly feel like that's a carrot that's locked behind a skill wall that I genuinely think that 90% of the player base are not able to do. And I think that the quicker that people are able to accept that and to realize that Wargaming aren't going to give a year of premium away to the vast majority of their audience. I think that the sooner that people accept that, the sooner that you can go back to actually having fun inside World of Tanks and not punishing yourself, unless you are, like I have been over the last week, a glutton for punishment. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that's it for today. That was a very stressful and epic journey. Thank you very much to everyone who has tuned into the streams over the last week. I'm so looking forward to getting back to just relaxing, enjoying the Blackrock today, and also getting back to unlocking some of the other tier 11s, which I haven't had the time to be able to do because I've been sweating to get these missions done. Anyway, really hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments down below, do you think that the measure of this, of having to do at least about 7.5 in the best matchup that you only get like 1 in 40 times, or managing to get that kind of like magical 9 or 10k damage game, is a fair goal for a lot of players? And yeah, I'm so looking forward to trying the Blackrock today. I'm going to try and get as many of the upgrades as possible on stream. So come along and see whether it was worth it. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.